Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you guys are new. Today is going to be my Project Huda Beauty update. This is the second update in the project, and we do have some updates to talk about. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. I want to start out by addressing a mistake that I made in my last Huda video. I don't know how many of you guys noticed it, but Haley pointed it out to me, and I'm really glad that she did because I didn't realize when I was filming it, and I don't remember if it was when I was editing that I got confused or when she brought it up. I went back and watched it, but essentially on the last shade that I rolled in, I said, I kind of held up this palette and I was like, oh, I bet I have pan in number 22. But then like 2 seconds later, I talked about how number 25 was getting rolled in. That wasn't like a cut. I wasn't trying to edit out anything. I just completely switched the number in my head and I rolled in 25 instead of 22. But 22 did already have pan in it, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. I rolled in another shade and oh well. But I'm going to try not to do that in this update. But I want to start out the video kind of like I did the last one, where I went through some of my favorite looks from the previous month using these palettes. I'm going to scoot over so I can put some pictures here of the looks. But the first one is this one where my sunglasses left a really great mark on my nose. But I really liked this look because I felt like it was really subtle and simple, but I liked the color that's in this project from the new Nude palette called Tease on the outer corner, and then the different kind of sparkly shade from the Mercury Retrograde palette. And I liked just the combo of them. And then I think in the crease I used Nude Light. I really liked that look. The second look is one that you guys saw me make on camera, and this was one of my Valentine's Day looks. I used my Huda new Nude palette for this, and I just really liked the cranberry tones in this look for this. I don't really know what else to say about that. I think Kelly Gooch has been talking a lot about cranberry shades, and I do think that she's right when she says it makes every eye color pop a lot, and that's kind of what inspired me to make this look, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Next up is one, this is when I recreated a look from Morgan White Beauty. She has an Instagram and a YouTube page that I will leave linked down below, but I shared in my, what video was it that I shared it in? I really don't remember. My Chatty Get Ready With Me, I think, where I was talking about a look that she had created, and this was similar to it. It looks a little bit different on me, but I tried to kind of channel the same tones and shades that she used from the Mercury Retrograde palette, and I thought this turned out really nicely. I did my makeup before I got dressed that day, so it was a little bit weird wearing a yellow dress with this look, but I think it's okay. But I really liked this eye look. Next up, this is another pretty simple one. This was just using a couple of my Project Pan shades. So I used, again, the shade Tease from New Nude, and then I used a rose gold kind of shimmer shade from Nude Light. I have that on today as well with other things. I tried to add in some more of the colors from this project, but again, this is just a nice, simple look. I really didn't do anything crazy this month. I had a weird month of makeup where I really wasn't wanting to wear a ton of sparkly eyeshadow. Who am I? I don't know. But this next look is what I was wearing a lot this past month. So this is the next one. I think I might have found my absolute new favorite go-to eye look. I really want to perfect this winged liner shape. So this is the look I'm talking about. I used all matte shades from the new Nude palette. Let's zoom in a little bit to the eye look because that specifically is what I'm kind of obsessed with. I love the shape of this liner. I think it made my eyes look a little bit more almond shape than I typically would view them. I feel like it kind of lifted the end of my lash line a little bit, and I really like the way that this liner kind of emphasized my eyes versus distracting from them or looking too harsh compared. So you guys might know already that I've been kind of obsessed with brown liner and brown mascara, and this was a combo of the both of those, and I just really like how this turned out, and this might be my new favorite liner look on myself. So that's the last look that I kind of wanted to highlight. All right, I think that's enough for the reflection. So let's go ahead and jump into the shades that are in this project. Kind of like last time, let's start out with the new Nude palette. We just had the one shade from this palette, and it's the shade called Tease. And it's this one right here. Again, no pan in this shade, but we do have a pretty good dip in it. I'm not sure if you'll be able to tell. I'll try and take some pictures and put them in, but there is definitely a dip in this shade, and there's more of a dip in this shade than any other shade in this palette other than the lightest cream color. That's just a go-to shade for me, so I usually hit pan in those pretty quickly compared to other shades. I actually really love this matte shade because it's not too deep that it's intimidating for me to use on a daily basis, but it's deep enough that it lightens up the looks that I would want to create. I have it on today in the outer corner, so you can see on me it's just not too deep in my opinion, and I'm excited to keep this in the project, hopefully get some more usage out of it, and hopefully we can see some more dips. But this is one of my more used shadows this whole month out of this project. Next up, let's jump to Mercury Retrograde. We had 4 shades from this palette. We actually don't have any new pans from this palette this month, but I do think we've made a little bit of progress. I will say that these like orangey tones aren't always my go-to, and I did not use them very much in February. I found myself reaching a lot more towards this shade called Crash and this one called Off Balance. I really liked the 2 of those like pink tones and even a little bit of Libra, but I already had pan in that shade, but I really was kind of using those pink tones a little bit more. This one might look more brown, but it really is like a pink-ish tone on the skin. So that's just what I was leaning more towards versus the orange shades. So this is what the palette is looking like right now. Utopia and Karma still have a pretty good dip in them, but neither one of them are too close to having pan, I would say. And then we also had Frazzled. Now I do think I'm really close to hitting pan in Frazzled. That's this gold shade right here. The one thing about this shade that makes it a little bit more challenging for me to use is it has like blue particles of glitter in it, and that makes it slightly less wearable for me on a daily basis because it doesn't quite go with everything that I wear. So this gold shade can just kind of like translate a little bit differently. On camera, this might look pretty gold, but really in person, you can see that there are slight either blue or teal little glitters in the shade. They're very pretty, but it just makes it slightly more difficult to wear consistently with a lot of other neutral or even pink toned shadows. So all 3 of those are going to be carrying over into the next month. However, this final shade here, this is called Haze. I have decided I'm going to roll it out of the project for a little while. I did not use it once the entire month except for today, and that's because I wanted to use it before filming this video. I tried to mix it with my mixing medium from NYX. I do think it worked out okay, but I just don't see myself doing that. Sometimes these teal shades are not my favorites to wear, and I'm gonna just go ahead and roll it out because I'm not really enjoying reaching for it. We'll talk about in a minute, once we go through the next palette, the shade that's gonna replace this, because as I'm filming this, I haven't quite decided if I want to randomly choose one or if I want to pick a replacement for this, because I'm kind of leaning towards that second option. But I'm gonna kind of think about that decision while we talk about this palette. So the final shade was from this Nude light palette. This is the one that I kind of made the mistake in. I did actually hit pan in it, even though it technically wasn't even supposed to be in here. But like I mentioned, I had accidentally said shade 22, and then a second later said shade 25. So they both have pan. I am so happy with that. I actually hit pan in this shade, creating today's look. I knew that I was super close to hitting pan on it, so I used the shade all over the lid, on both lids of course, and I really like how that turned out. So yeah, this is my next to least used shimmer shade in this palette. I mentioned in my last update that I really want to hit pan in all 9 shades in this palette. So now I'm even one closer, and we only have these 2 here and then this brown to hit pan in. So I definitely think I could do that. I would not mind having this purple shimmer shade in the project just because I have been wanting to use some purples more. So even if it doesn't get rolled in, I think I will try and reach for that more this next month. Now is the time to decide. I am thinking I'm going to maybe wait on that one, but I kind of want to pick a shade from one of these to focus on because I want to still be excited about the project. So I'm thinking I might roll one in and then choose a shade. So once again, we're going to start number 1 being here, and then go through New Nude and end with number 27 from the Nude Light palette. And I'm going to go ahead and select one random shade. So we'll select one randomly, and then for the second one, because I'm rolling out the shade Haze. I think I might choose the replacement for that one, but let's see what we get first. So let's go ahead and pick a shade number 1 through 27. We got number 2. I think that one's already in. That one's Utopia, right? Yeah. So that is Utopia from Mercury Retrograde. It is already in this project. Let me swatch the shades that are in the project, or that are staying in the project, so that we can have our new palette. So we currently have these 3 really warm tone shades from Mercury Retrograde. And then we also have the shade Tease from the new Nude palette. So this is what we're working with right now. And then we rolled out the other 2 shades. So pretty much any shade can match these, I feel like. So let's try that again since 2 is already in the project. Number 11. So it's still gonna be from this palette. That is the shade Momentum, which we have huge pan in. Number 3. Oh, okay. I do not love this shade. It is this one here called Ultraviolet. I do have a pretty good dip in it because naturally when I pick it up, I usually use my finger and it just kind of fits in the same spot every time. So I do have a decent like dip in this product. I don't love this shade, honestly. I'm like not that thrilled about it, which this also kind of makes it to where I will not be rolling in this purple shade. However, I have used them together before in a look and that's a lot of fun, but this is just much more my speed than this like blue tone one. But that's the one we rolled. So yeah, we're gonna keep it in there. Hopefully I hit pan on that this month because that's like, oh, I don't like that shade very much. It doesn't swatch very pretty, but when you use a glitter glue, it does look pretty on the eyes. It's just not my favorite kind of purple. I got so much makeup on the back of this case from just now having this on my fingers. Okay, I'm gonna roll another shade, and then once we pick the shade, I'll decide if I want that one or if I want to choose another one. That's what we're gonna do. So number 8, that one probably already has pan. Yeah, that's the shade Galaxy. It's already got pan. Number 17, that's already in, right? Nope, we just hit pan in that one last month. It's nice to have so many pans, but I'd like to pick a shade that we do not already have. That one also has pan in it, number 1. Number 14. This is picking everything from this palette. Number 14 is the shade Hot Mess, and I'm not feeling that. I know it would go okay with the color story, but like pretty much any shade could go okay with this. So I am gonna choose to replace the shade Haze with a shade of my choice. And I know I have it between the shades Off Balance and Crash, which are the 2 I mentioned earlier that I've been really reaching for. So I'm gonna try and figure out which one might go best with the shades I already have picked, especially with that purple shade because that's gonna be like the challenging part. Okay, I think I'm gonna roll in the shade Crash, which is this one here, because I think it'll be a nice complement to the Ultraviolet shade, and that might make it a little bit easier for me to get use out of Ultraviolet. So I'm gonna do that. That means for March, we're not gonna have any shades coming out of Nude Light. I'm still going to be using it because Project Huda Beauty for me is, yes, I have 6 shades that I'm focusing on. However, I'm still just trying to focus on my 3 Huda palettes more than normal. So that's kind of like where I'm at with that, and I'm happy with that. So yeah, I'm gonna pick the shade Crash. I think that'll pair really nicely with the shade Tease as well because it's a little bit lighter. So these are the shades we're gonna be focusing on for the next month. This is Frazzled from Huda Mercury Retrograde. This is Utopia from Mercury Retrograde as well. Karma, again, from the same palette. This is from the new Nude palette, and this is called Tease. This is Ultraviolet from Mercury Retrograde, and then Crash, also from Mercury Retrograde. So all Mercury Retrograde, except for the one that is from New Nude. And I'm really happy with that because Mercury Retrograde is the palette that inspired this whole project for me because I'm going to be replacing it in my own collection in the middle of the year. So I would like to be getting the most use out of that palette within this project. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this update. I'm very excited to have like a refresh because I think that teal color was really throwing me off. Whereas the shade Ultraviolet, it's a pretty shade. It's not my favorite, no, but I do think it pairs really nicely with some of my favorite shades. So these two that I have huge pan in are my favorites. I also really love the shade Nebula. So I think with those three, I can use it a lot. Also, I put this shade here called Supermoon all over the look today. And I feel like that placed over Ultraviolet would just be a really pretty look. And it might lighten that purple up to where I like it and enjoy it a little bit more. So it's gonna get me a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I definitely think that these paired together would be a really nice complement, especially with the shade Crash in the crease or something. I definitely think I can work with this, and I'd much prefer Ultraviolet to the shade Haze, especially for every day, because I just really wasn't wanting to reach for the shade Haze during the week, like to wear it to work. But that's gonna be it for today's video. If you enjoyed, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel if you want to keep track with my project Huda Beauty. I would love for any of you guys to join in. I know that Megan joined in on this project with me, and I love seeing her do this project as well. I really was so excited to see her intro video, and I'm really looking forward to seeing her updates as well. I will also have her channel linked down below if you want more Project Huda Beauty content on your channel, like a timeline. Channel timeline. I don't think that's how you say that. But with that being said, that's going to be it for today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!